from WebEx. I would like to welcome all of you today at this auspicious occasion of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama 88th birth anniversary, and at the same time undertaking the Bodhisattva, aspirational Bodhisattva vows led by our director, Venerable Geshe Doji Damdula. I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, I would like to inform all of you, request all of you that we'll do 3 prostrations before we begin this session. Thank you very much. Right, thank you very much. Right. So as we all know, today is really a wonderful occasion for all of us. As His Holiness' birthday, 88th birthday ceremony, we are celebrating his 88th birthday ceremony, and as I've already mentioned before during the previous session, but as I would like to say it once again for all the online viewers from our WebEx. So as His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, we all know, he is a universal symbol of peace and harmony. Wherever he goes, he perpetuates the message of peace, love, care, affection, and most importantly, compassion, I would say. So before we begin this session, I would like to say that, I would like to emphasize on the 4 principal commitments of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, which is really one of the most valuable asset to not only to the Tibetans, but to all the people in this world. So before that, so the first principal commitment of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama is, as we know, the promotion of human values. So as a human being, right, His Holiness is always concerned about encouraging people to be happy, helping them understand that if their minds are upset, mere physical comfort will not bring them peace. But if their minds are at peace, even physical pains will not disturb their calm. Secondly, as a Buddhist monk, His Holiness is always committed to encouraging harmony among the world religious traditions. Despite philosophical differences between them, all major world religions have the same potential to create good human beings. It is therefore important for all religious traditions to respect one another and recognize the value of their respective traditions. Thirdly, His Holiness is a Tibetan, and as the Dalai Lama, he's always focused on the Tibetan people's hope and trust. Therefore, he's committed to preserving the Tibetan language and culture, the heritage Tibetan received from the masters of India's Nalanda University, while also speaking up for the protection of Tibet's natural environment. And last but not the least, his 4th commitment, His Holiness has always been committed to reviving the awareness of the value of ancient Indian knowledge among young Indians today. His Holiness is convinced that the rich ancient Indian understanding of the workings of the mind and emotion, as well as the techniques of mental training, such as meditation, developed by Indian traditions, are of great relevance today. And with this, I would also like to say that, as we all know, that there's a lot of chaos going around in Manipur, northeast regions. At the same time, Ukraine, we have Russian-Ukraine war. So we all it's really in peace. It is not, actually. So I would like to take this very opportunity with Venerable Geshe-la's permission to, to all of you to wish, to pray for the people in Ukraine, right? And at the same time, about the misunderstanding and the chaotic situation in Manipur. So I just want to pray and just want to hope that everything gets better as soon as possible and the peace and harmony is restored once again. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Venerable Geshe-la to kindly address the session.
Okay, first of all, let us all keep in mind that today being the birthday, 88th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and there are many ways by which to celebrate it. And of course, everyone celebrates in their own ways, in whatever way they think is best to do. They do it in their own ways. And we see that people cutting cakes. And in the past, for example, like the Tibetans and also the Ladakis in Ladakh, in Arunachal, Sikkim, in Mongolia, there people celebrate his own birthday for like whole 1 week, 10 days. They really enjoy their time. For them, most of them, celebration is just to feel the joy, to see that there is somebody there on this planet Earth who is your savior, whose presence takes care of us. And this is a great, the significance, number one, is greatly significant. And also that today, if people come together to celebrate, even on that level, just cutting cakes, enjoying, smiling, dancing, and so forth, even on that level of celebration, which may not be the highest level, but then they just imagine the whole world comes together with smile, joy, and so forth. Then all this chaos, domestic violence, and all these, there's no room for these. And people will all say, hold hands of each other. This is so precious. And so in this connection, Tibet House, they organized programs to celebrate the 88th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in twofold or threefold. Number one, just a symbolic, the gesture of planting trees to tell the world that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is very much in favor, or he's so concerned about the ecology that part of his the prize, the monetary prize, he bought all, say, the seeds of different fruits, and to be distributed to the different places. Different places, so that people can plant the fruit-bearing trees wherever in the world. That way to encourage the ecology to thrive and heal the ecology. And the second part of which is that His Holiness is deep inside the ecology and the people who live in this world. The people who live in the world, they suffer. Because they suffer, they need a solution. And solution is, Holiness says, that finally, modern education required for the development in science and technology, and the development of the heart is also required. These two are are required. So the modern education is primarily for the material development, which of course is required for our physical, the comfort, well-being. And for the mental well-being, we need the programs to develop the heart, which is Holiness, the envisioned since long time, many years ago, under the caption Universal Ethics. And today that is being good thing is that is being implemented all over the world under the umbrella C-learning, social, emotional, ethical learning. The spearheaded by Emory University, USA. And Tibetos here as a second, the program which we conducted here is the roundtable discussion on universal ethics, the challenges and the solutions. And third program is how to concretely cultivate your heart, a good heart, that is to generate bodhicitta and to see the reality of interdependency. So the third part of the program which we are doing now here, the online, offline both, we are undertaking the what is known as the ceremony of taking the aspiration bodhisattva vow, which anybody is entitled to take. And it's not necessary that the individual should be a Buddhist, not necessary. Anyone who is in favor of compassion, who is in favor of inclusivity, who is in favor of seeing other person as a human being, just as you want happiness, you don't want suffering, others also don't want suffering. With this recognition, if you belong to this category, you are entitled to take this aspiration bodhisattva vow. Okay, so having said this, the so given that most of you are from our earlier programs, either from not in master's course, not in a diploma course, or otherwise not in the certificate course and so forth, you know the program so well. So we will do it in a pretty straightforward way. And then I know that because of the second program, it delayed the third program. So the many of you from the different time zones online, I'm sure you got up so early in the morning, like 5, 6, and I'm sure that this is what I can see from the online participants. So we will try to make it pretty short. So with this in mind, setting proper motivation that visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, in a space in front of us as sources of inspiration for you to be unconditionally loving and caring towards others. And also let us visualize your two parents and all your family members and all the sentient beings, human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, spirits, even the stray dogs, stray cats, the mosquitoes, all the beings who do not want suffering. Just visualize all of them. And here visualize that you are like the mother and all others are like the children. The fact that they don't know how to get rid of the miseries, how to acquire, how to really embrace happiness. Because of this ignorance, they delve into all the causes of the miseries and they stay away from the cause of happiness. So seeing this, the plight of the beings in this mental state, you generate very strong compassion that I be there to render help and service to them physically, to give some food, shelter, and so forth, and then mentally to educate them, to give them the proper guidance out of love and affection. So with this pure motivation, And finally, the Buddha very clearly indicated that where imagine the whole universe filled with gems and diamonds, gold, silver, and so forth, and offer them to all the Buddhist bodhisattvas. The merit that you accumulate is put on one side. On the other side, you generate one single moment of compassion, universal compassion, unconditional compassion with all the beings. Of the two, the Buddha said that the second one, generating one moment of compassion, far excels the gift of the whole universe filled with gems offered to all the Buddhist bodhisattvas. If this were to be the case, then what I mentioned of our generating this unconditional love for bodhicitta for all the demon sentient beings on this very auspicious day, the Buddha of today's Buddha, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's birthday. So, with this in mind, let us, those of us from offline, make sure that you have this book, because we will use this book for our the practice. And those of online, you have the screen sharing. Okay. Those just offline, those who do not have the book, raise your hands. If you do not have the book, raise your hands. Those offline, you all have one. One down there, Mr. Saxena. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, here, Dola. Did Dola did. Okay. So this is better. This is new version, new edition. Okay. So what we do is that we turn to page 3. It should be on page 3. It may differ one, 2 pages up, down. We're reading from Enthused by Great Compassion. Page 3. Okay. So what is very important is that it's a matter of mental cultivation. And the say that mental cultivation requires training. Is a training meaning training in the form of habituation. So as we read this, rather than just reading the words, the meanings must be reflected. If the meanings are not reflected, then your mental transformation will not take place. For example, you think of a person, and then you say you see that somebody is being nasty towards you. Then what we do is that we just fester on how the person was being so nasty. The more you fester on the nastiness of the other person, is that you're actually thinking, reasoning, giving reasons over and over again of the bad things of the other person. Then your anger tends to intensify. This is the same principle mechanism which can be applicable to the virtuous mind. So with the good thoughts like compassion, universal compassion, and so forth, first of all, you need to have the sound reason, not a blind faith reason. Oh no, everybody is so good, everybody is, the Buddha. No, we should be very realistic. We should be very realistic that we have difficulties, we have problems. Say the bad are bad, good are good. Bad are bad, but the badness is not intrinsically bad. Even the badness is because of dependent origination. Because these people, they do not get the opportunity to encounter with the good factors. So now I have to grow myself to the extent that I'll be in a position to show them the right factors. At the moment they imbibe those right factors, then they change. Like the clay, a wet clay clay in the shape of the demon. You reshape it and it becomes the Buddha's statue. It was Jesus Christ's statue. It becomes Ram's statue. So it's just, you can reshape it. So our mind requires to be reshaped. And how to reshape it? So it is to be done cognitively. Cognitively, it should be a very sound cognitive thought process, which should come to us through proper learning, through proper reason. For example, if I say that quantum mechanics is amazing, the reality, and if I never learned how it is that the very profound reality, just say that no, it is said by Niels Bohr, it's said by the Heisenberg, there's amazing, relativity theory is amazing, Albert Einstein said it. No, so what's amazing about it? Do you know it? Do you know how these are derived? I don't know. If you don't know this, then what you say becomes very shallow. So therefore, when you say something, you must be convinced. And the conviction will be given to you through the cognitive, the valid cognitive thought process. So this valid cognitive thought process should come about only through sound reasoning, not blind faith reasoning. This is so important. So with this in mind, all what we're reading now, when we read these should not be seen as prayers. These should be seen as the manual to bring about cognitive transformation within your own mind. Once a cognitive transformation takes place within your mind, you get convinced. Then you habituate in this, familiarize in this over and over again. Then the transformation takes place. Transformation takes place on the affective level. So the mind has two sides, cognitive transformation and then affective transformation. There are two. So the cognitive transformation, that is the real ground for affective transformation. So what earlier you were a very cold, reserved person, and cognitively see that we're all interdependent. The COVID-19 taught us that we're all interdependent. It's very simple. So it taught us that you are not, that you are a male, I'm female. You are a female, I'm male. You are you are from this religion, I'm from this religion, that religion. You are from this country. No, COVID-19 taught us that we're all interdependent. That we should all work as one family. This is what the COVID-19 taught us. This is known as interdependency. So cognitively, once you know this, then you look with the COVID-19, how the whole world came together. How the world leaders, they were not really shirking the responsibilities. They were not saying that no, we'll not take part in, they will not say they take part in this. Where the dependent origination is not visibly seen, then the leaders, they become divided. They work on because they're blinded from seeing the reality. So therefore they think that, whatever is beneficial to my country, I'll do it. And whatever is beneficial to my seed, I'll do it to hold it. So whereas when you see the interdependence vividly, so therefore the wise people, noble beings, they see that this dependent origination or interdependency very subtly, what is so subtle to the ordinary people, they can see so vividly. What is seen the ordinary people wants to see them so near in time and in space. But the noble beings, they can see from distance. So noble beings, they behave very differently. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he behaves very differently. He doesn't really think about me, the Tibetan, with the Buddhist. No, he talks about the world. Because he could see the interdependency from a wide range of space and in time, and that too a cognitive, the stability, a cognitive, cognitively verified. So the transformation has taken place on the affective level. So this is what we're trying to do, and whatever we read, make sure that we think of the meaning of these words. When you think of the meaning, then the cognitive transformation gradually takes place. So this will help us to bring about effective transformation from what is a cold person to a very compassionate, loving person. say, who would say see a stray dog, then they just ignore, beat the dog, to from that person gradually to embrace all these stray dogs with a recognition that even these dogs, though they don't want to suffer, they want happiness. They don't want somebody to kick you. They want somebody to embrace you. With this recognition, this cognitive transformation comes to you, then you will effectively, you'll be affected that I should treat everybody equally. I should not seclude everybody, anybody. So this is the basic recognition with which we recite the verses, and the meaning should be reflected. And if where possible, try to invoke your whatever little experience, the three things: words being uttered, meanings reflected, and experiences being invoked. There are three ways of doing this. And where, if you have not been really reflecting on these points for extended period of time for the last many years, of course, we can't really invoke the experiences. But there's no excuse. We can do the first and second. Utter the words, and the meanings are reflected. When the meanings are reflected, this becomes a part of bringing about, say, the invocation of the experience. Okay, ready? And imagine all beings are with you. Human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, helpings, everyone is with you. Yes. Hello. Hello. And due to great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And due to great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And due to great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sanje Joda Zoge Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyabzoj. Dage Jinso Gebe Sonamge, Dola Penjir Sanje Drubare Sho, Sanje Joda Zoge Chonam, Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyabzo Che, Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam, Dola Penjir Sanje Drubare Sho, Sanje Joda Zoge Chonam, Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyabzo Che, Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam, Dola Penjir Sanje Drubare Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the concept of Buddha, the supreme of all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is afraid of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification, complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths causes those having migrated to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue its expanded varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you are my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines for the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I journey the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatad Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham Tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat Tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peacefully, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite. Such is the nectar like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who could fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unsees, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of the self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times are obeisance. The four seals of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrows, peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly demand and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you're attached to this life, you're not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhichitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. No. Okay. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed. Okay, page number. Page 14. Page 14. Page 14. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When O Supreme amongst humans, you are born in this earth, based of sense, rights, and said, I'm supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the three worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Just feel like you, the three worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, filled of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you that the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation. The holy feel qualified with realizations, but devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, but from only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through this marriage, may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Heart Sutra mantra. Mantra. Okay. We'll recite the, okay, right, we'll recite the full Heart Sutra. This is a very important part. Finally, what we learn is that all our problems, the, say, in other words, the tears, okay, page number 29. Page 29, yes. Okay. All our problems are rooted to ignorance, and the ignorance, until we address the ignorance, there's the whatever attempts we make become symptomatic treatment. And symptomatic treatment means that the root is never addressed, which means the problems are bound to recur. So the Heart Sutra teaches us how to address the root, how to see things as dream-like. And we can't just imagine that things like dream-like without actually cognitively knowing how it is the case. Simply by believing, okay, so the Buddha taught that things like dreams, so it must be true, and then it never works like this. So we have to learn how things are like dream. Systematically, logically, we have to learn the way and manner in which we learn quantum mechanics or relativity theory. And these are not something that, okay, Niels Bohr said it, Albert Einstein said it, so therefore, we have to just memorize what we said, equals mc square. That's not how it works. We have to learn how to derive these equations. Derivative, that must be they learned. They say these, we come to the conviction through the learning the skill of the derivation of these equations. So likewise, how everything's like a dream, how the objectively there's nothing really there, all subjectively imputed. This must come to our mind through a cognitive transformation, which happens only through logical discernment. So the Heart Sutra is a means to teach us how things are all like dream. And the first part of the question was asked by Shariputra to Avalokiteshvara, how should the chart of the lineage, the wise people, noble beings, should practice the perfection of wisdom, and how to see things as like a dream. Then Avalokiteshvara responded in great detail how things are like dream. And then the third section is, if we come to know things like dream, what's the benefit? Benefit is just that you wake up, all the fears, the nightmare that you went through in the dream stops the moment you wake up, realizing that whatever happened in the dream is just a part of your mind. Likewise, when we come to know that everything that happens in your life, that happened in your life, all the tears that we have to go through in our lives, when they come to know that these are all nothing really coming from the object, all coming from the subject, like a dream, all your fears of samsara will dissolve. So, waking up from conventional dream and waking up from the unconventional dream. So we've been waking up from the unconventional dream every day. And then the moment you wake up from the conventional dream, whatever problems that you had in the dream stops, the fear stops when you wake up. When you wake up from the unconventional dream, all the miseries of samsara stop altogether. So this is the gate, entrance gate, through which all the past Buddhas, the present Buddhas, and the future Buddhas will have to traverse. This gate of waking up from the sleep of ignorance to reach to the shore of ultimate happiness for yourself, ultimate fulfillment for yourself, the fearlessness, and your wisdom to share this with all the other dear Mother sentient beings. Okay, with this mind, let's recite the Heart Sutra. I prostrate to the irrefutable gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Buddha was dwelling on a massive vulture's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Aravalokiteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Aravalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, and is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there's no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no phenomenon. There's no I element and so on, up to and including no mind element or no mental consciousness element. There's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there's no suffering or origination, cessation path. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection wisdom, the mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awakened to answer possible perfect complete enlightenment and reliance on professional wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the professional wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the professional wisdom is declared: Deyatha Om Gade Gade Bara Gade Bara Sam Gade Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train a profound professional wisdom like that. Then the Buddha rose from that concentration, commanded the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Aravalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound professional wisdom, just as you've indicated, even that the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Aravalokiteshvara, those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Buddha. Okay, as we recite this Heart Sutra mantra together, just let us visualize that we are there in Rajgir, the place where the Buddha Shakyamuni actually presided over the gathering of the monks, nuns, lay devotees, the bodhisattvas, and then the Aravalokiteshvara was there, and the Shariputra was there, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the paid visit there so many times. Kunjabla. So, but just visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that you are there in Rajgir, and your parents, your children, your husband, wife, all the family members, human beings, animals, insects, holy ghosts, hell beings, God and goddess, spirits, everyone is with you there. And imagine that the Buddha is proclaiming thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Stop shedding tears. Awaken the seed of perfection within you by removing the mental stains, by relying on the wisdom to see the reality as it is, thereby dispelling the ignorance, and all the stains disappear. And your miseries stop, your tears stop, and you're hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni. You inform this to all your dear sentient beings. They are, like Professor Vivekji, there are many others who are so loving and caring towards the stray dogs and the people who don't have voice, animals who don't have voice. I just imagine that you are informing this, what you heard from Buddha Shakyamuni, to all these beings, that this is what compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni exhorted. Let us not remain in the fears of samsara anymore. Let us uncover this treasure within us but remove all the mental defilements like the gold when mixed with the mud. Remove the mud and then let the gold shine within, that all your fears dissolve, their happiness expands infinitely, and the infinity to all the other dear sentient beings. So with this mind, let's recite this Heart Sutra mantra 7 times together. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Ragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Om Gate Gate Paragate Paras Hatyatam Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Signature Sutta. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of the truth, may in and outer hindrance be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspices of perfect happiness pervade this place now. Oh, 뭐지? 8 verses the most karimba. They don't trust mandate to Korean. Teaching do the 8 verses sedula. Screen sudan to test sudan Korean. Ah. But that should sweet more. Pass. Sedula. Make a measure. This passage. Oh, that is. Solution. Oh, yeah. Okay, 8 verses for training the mind. This is very important. This is a short text, but it's very important. That we in our life, we have problems of different sorts. Problems of different sorts. Economically, socially, or emotionally, or mentally, or say the relationally. We have many problems, and financially. And we see that many of these problems are related to our our cognitive way of thinking, our perspectives. And these perspectives can arouse a feeling of oftentimes anger, and also feeling of ego. And ego and anger actually destroy your peace of mind. When your peace of mind is destroyed, you see anything, whatever you see them as something wrong, and that agitates you even more. So whereas when you say ego and anger, when these two things are subsided by changing your perspective, naturally you feel it leaves room for compassion for others. It instantly, the agitation subsides. And any decision that you take, that is wiser. And you see things more beautifully. Say the things, the flower, usually the flower is on the table, but today it's not on the floor. Why it's not on the table? Right? Look, I feel agitated. Whereas if there's a feeling of affection, then oh, flowers down there is not. Yeah, that's true. It's not necessary. It should be on the table. It's beautiful down there also. So again, you see that where your mind, the ego and anger subsides, then whatever is there, the things are so beautiful everywhere. It doesn't mean that there's a war happening. War is also beautiful. No. So you will know that this is wrong. This is wrong. It must be addressed, not through anger, through skillfully. So the 8 ways of mind training, this will teach us what are the factors which can potentially arouse anger within us, which can potentially arouse the ego within us, and how not to give in to these two emotions by not trusting those perspectives. Change your perspective. You see that your earlier perspective is very raw, immature, and give rise to your anger, ego, and unhappiness. So these 8 ways of mind training. This is actually composed by a great enlightened teacher whose main practice in life is just compassion, universal compassion. You can so what he practiced is well reflected in these 8 verses. Okay, so as you read this, just enjoy every word and every concept that he's sharing with us, every thought process that he is sharing with us, and see how we can bring about change in our perspective to change our emotional states from anger to embracing compassion, from ego to other cherishing. Okay, with this in mind, this is by the most venerable Geshe Langre Tangpa. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectful of all others as superior. In all my deeds, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character and those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes makes extremely hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all this remain undefiled by the sins of 8 mundane concerns, and may I, recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my 2 collections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort as this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes blinded with ignorance. Okay, so model offering. This is offering the best you can think of. For example, a small child does not have anything to offer to the parents, but say a small flower offered to the parents. For the parents, this flower is more precious than the diamond, because it's coming from a little child giving offering out of love and affection. So the whatever good things that you can think of, you imagine that you're offering to making the offering of these to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, who we see as some source of inspiration for you to cultivate the universal compassion on the basis of the understanding the intermutuality of dependency among all of the phenomena. Okay, with this mind, let us say this together, first in English, followed by Tibetan. This ground adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Saji Bhage Cho Shem Nando Tam Rab Le Shen Yan De Gyam Ba Din Sangye Shen Do Me De Bu Ma Yin Dogun Nam Da Shen Lai Chu Ba Rai Shum. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps the true existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as a vicious and repulsive. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the wisdom of bodhicitta and cherish others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality to bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Radha Mandala Gamne Rate Amen. Oh. Foundation of all good qualities, I think the very next page. So this is page 16. This is the page 42. Okay. This is the roadmap to cleansing our mind of the mental defilements. How to cleanse the mind is all about cultivating the universal compassion through the wisdom, not through blind faith, through the wisdom, through creating the cognitive transformation within ourselves. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the present freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me. Remember how quickly decay and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karmas follow. Finding firm, definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is a door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, and alertness in great caution arise. The root of the teaching is in keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I fall into the sea of samsara, please bless me to see this, train in Supreme Bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified part of karma abiding special inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the true attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledge them in my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teaching of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, enjoy the manifested Dharma by completing the qualities of stages and the paths, I could attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, we'll sing this together. First, is a praise to Lama Tsongkhapa, the author of this, the short text, and which we read right now, Foundation of All Good Qualities. In English, first we read the English. For anybody to be of the greatest benefit to others, as indicated in one of the earlier verses of which we read, that the Buddha doesn't watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove the miseries of the beings with his hands, nor does he transfer his spiritual realization to others. It is only through teaching the suchness, teaching the reality, that is to bring about cognitive transformation in the people, that the beings have benefited, the beings are helped. So how best to help others is by giving teachings. And how best to give the teachings is that you are endowed with 3 perfect qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. Even if you have without the perfect knowledge, what do you impart? You have nothing to offer. Even if you have the perfect knowledge, but if you don't have the love, you will not be happy to share this with others. Even if the love and knowledge, but if you don't have the power, you'll be limited with your capacity to help others. Although, for example, like a mother who is expert, like let's say Madame Curie, a Nobel laureate in chemistry. So say there's so much love for a child, and she's extremely learned and a Nobel laureate in chemistry. But if she's sick, she cannot help the child. So she should have the power. She should not be weak, physically weak or mentally weak. She should have the power. So only somebody when endowed with these 3 perfect qualities, perfect knowledge, perfect love, and perfect power, only then can we expect to benefit other beings very effectively. So the author of this text, this short text, Lama Tsongkhapa, he's being praised for him having these perfected qualities. So this is what you will see there. It says together. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sage of the land of snows, lost on top by your feet and make prostrations. Okay, now we'll sing this in the Tibetan. With Tibetan, we usually, to accommodate the melody, we skip the 3rd line. It's not for any other reason, just to accommodate the melody. Or you will say this together 3 times. lo sa ta be chab la so wa de me me tse we de che che re se Teme Kembe Ombo Jambe Yam Kanje Kebe Tsu Ge Tso Kaba Lo Sa Ta Be Sham La So Wa De Me Z Te che che re se te me ke me om bo cha me yam kan je ke be zu ge zo ka ba Lo sa ta me sham la so wa de. Okay. Now we will quickly do take the aspiration bodhisattva vow. First, we will do 5 minutes of breathing meditation. And since that I don't see any new faces, so we'll just right away start the meditation. The most important thing for this is single point of meditation. The most important thing is eyes not closed and your backbone upright, and breathe normally. And when the mental scattering or excitement or mental laxity happens, apply the respective remedies, introspection and mindfulness. Okay, ready? 5 minutes. Okay. Now we do these single point meditation, 4 seals for renunciation, and then the 4 immeasurables for bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. Today, because of the constraint in time, we'll directly go to the bodhicitta in the form of the 4 immeasurables. Ready? Okay. Quickly reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in a space in front of us, as so loving, caring, and embracing, who are the ultimate source of inspiration for each one of us to cultivate universal compassion for all beings. And also, you surrounded by all of your Tokan parents, all of them members, including children, and all the sentient beings, leaving none aside. And the whole purpose is to exterminate the self-centered attitude. And it is going to be analytical meditation. It's going to be guided analytical meditation, and just follow the instructions and don't try to compare, contrast with what you are hearing now, with what you've heard before, what you've read before. So if you do want to compare, contrast, you can do that later after the completion of this session. So at the moment, let us take every opportunity to invoke the experience to the best you can. For the actual bodhicitta practice, we require the 2 methods: the 7-fold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta, and the method of equalizing and exchanging self-others to generate bodhicitta. Given that these two require more time, we'll do the 4 immeasurables. First, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness? May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nexus of soothing lights towards you and all demon sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the body experience yours instills in all happiness and the cause of happiness within you and all demon sentient beings. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the demon sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Oftentimes, people complain or people tell me that what we are meditating, it doesn't really resonate with my natural thinking. My mind doesn't really resonate with the instructions, and my mind cannot really take the responsibility of others and so forth. This is where we require training. So if your mind can flow so effectively right from the beginning, then of course why need of training? So because our mind is so selfish at the moment, it doesn't really, it's not really there to share with others. So therefore it requires exercise, training to make it happen eventually. So like training in music, initially you press the keyboards, the keys here and there, no music comes out, it's of a noise. And gradually it becomes music. The music comes only through training, starting from the noise, then keep doing it, eventually it becomes music. Likewise, see, initially there's a friction between what you are saying and what your natural mind thinks. Over time, it becomes a music. These two sync. There's a synchrony, symphony, but they do so well. Okay. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering? May all my demon sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I will take the responsibility that all my demon sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering primarily self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy, like a mother after all these many years of raising her children with great hardship. Today, the eldest daughter just aged 12, and the eldest son aged 11. Two of them come to mother, telling the mother, "Mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us. And you love us so much. We also love you so much. Now you take rest. We're grown up. We'll take care of all our siblings, all our 10 siblings." Mother couldn't believe her eyes and ears. There's tremendous pride and happiness the mother feels. This is exactly what happens to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, seeing that you make such courageous commitment to take the responsibility of all the demonstration beings. And this pride and happiness Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel invoke their compassion omniscient minds to send forth nectars of very soothing lights to us, you and all demonstration beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies makes yours washes away all the miseries and causes of miseries from the minds of sentient beings to yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all of them as sentient beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths. Sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are never separated from the happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. May all my dear mother sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassion omniscient minds to send forth nectars of soothing lights to us, you and all demonstration beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours stabilizes the happiness and the cause of happiness that the beings are endowed with. And you witnessing that such a miracle is happening to all demonstration beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my demonstration beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demonstration beings equally, leaving none aside. May all my demonstration beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I will take the responsibility that all my demonstration beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke Invoke the compassion of omniscient minds to send for the nectar of soothing lights to pursue and ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of lasting nectar of the body makes yours. Frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and then instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings equally and leaving them aside. And you witnessing such a miraculous happening towards all the demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscore all the four immeasurables is unconditional love towards all the demon sentient beings. Just stay abundance experience of the unconditional love towards all the beings. Imagine that you are looking at the eyes of each of the sentient beings to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as special in your eyes. With folded hands, let us make this bodhichitta commitment 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Stay in this most beautiful mind of the bodhicitta, most beautiful altruistic mind of bodhicitta, wishing to benefit all the beings unconditionally. And slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean moon disk at your heart. Okay, that's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha, to benefit all demon sentient beings. But remember that no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out. Yes, that's true. So how do you know that you can become a Buddha? Yes, I'm not like a handful of sand. Instead, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out. I have the Buddha seed of perfection within me, the gold within me, of the purity within me, the true nature of the purity within me. But how come that it's not activated, that it did not manifest since time immemorial till now? That's true. So since time immemorial till now, I'm being deceived by the two demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered. I'm being deceived by these two. And the mud continues to perpetually, it envelops the gold like Buddha energy within me. Today I'm disillusioned by these two demons. Now I understand that these two are not my friends. These two are the demons to obscure my potential, the perfect potential within me. I'm going to do everything to get rid of these two demons as the mud-like mental defilements. What are you going to do? I'm going to resort to a very powerful remedy. What remedy? The wisdom of emptiness. Okay, let's quickly meditate on the wisdom of emptiness. It's going to be guided meditation. And those of us who already know what the wisdom of emptiness is, what emptiness is, and how to get there, you will not find it difficult. But those who are doing this for the first time, just bear with me, follow the instructions to the best you can, and see whether you get something. Are you good? Ready? So the whole idea is to see how everything is like a dream. You see dream as dream only when you wake up. You see dream as real in the dream. In the dream, you don't see dream as dream. You see dream as real. So that is ignorance. That ignorance attracts all the fears in the dream. You see, the dream is dream happens only when you wake up. So this is wisdom. Waking up. See, the dream is the wisdom. It happens in the waking up. All the fears in the dream stops when you wake up. This whole idea. Okay, so we have to see everything, including yourself, as dreamlike, as coming from your mind, nothing really from the object. Like watching a movie in a movie theater. Small children, they see the movie is real, coming from the screen, but the elders will know that the movie is not coming from the screen, it is on the screen, not from the screen, it's from the projector behind you. So the projector is like your mind. So everything, they come from the mind. You realize that the dream is, even the ghost movie is all coming from the projector. You have no fear. When you think like a small child, when you think that it's really from the screen, then the fear comes. Okay. So how do I know that I'm like a dream? Okay. Just tell me, what are you doing? I'm meditating. What is your body doing? My body's in the meditative posture. Okay. And how does this person appear to you, who you identified as I, appear to you? It appears like a dream that your mind is creating it, or it is really solidly there. Of course, in the second way, it's so solidly there. This belief is a self-grasping ignorance. To grasp the self to be objectively real, solidly real. And how do you know that this is ignorance, that is not valid mind? Let's remember what Aranagarjuna taught. If the mirage were to be water, why not those posed by the mirage see water? Likewise, by similar token of reasoning, if the self who I identify as I would exist objectively, why don't I see the self as I go closer towards the object? Okay, let us now go closer to the object. Going closer towards the object, the mind which goes closer to the object to see that self, to see if the self exists objectively, that mind is known as ultimate analysis, technically speaking. So subjecting the self to ultimate analysis by going closer to the object, let us see anything which is not self, just ignore. Okay, first we see a very thin layer of skin. Of course, that is not this I. Behind that, the fatty tissues, there's also not I. Behind that, the muscles, cartilages, the whole skeleton, heart, the lungs, the liver, spleen, intestine, gallbladder, kidneys, none of these solid parts. The solid parts constitute the element of earth, and the element of earth is not this self. Element of water, 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart with different parts of the body. Of course, that is not the self. Element of fire, the body heat, 2,600 joules of energy of the body. Of course, that is not this I. Element of space, 99.99% of our body is vacuum. And yet, I'm not a vacuum. I'm a solid person. And the space is vacuum in nature. These two are mutually exclusive. So even the element of air, the space is also not me. What is left now? The mind or the consciousness. If this mind or the consciousness is also not me, I'm a male, I'm a female, and the mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. Also that the people can see me, people cannot see my mind. So therefore, even the element of the mind, the element of consciousness is also not me. Keep that aside. Okay, what is left now? What do you see now? Coming too close to this object, what do you see? I just see 6 elements. And which of 6 elements to be identified as intrinsically as one with the self? Intrinsically as the self, objective as the self. None of the 6 elements. Okay. Now, if you see that none of these 6 elements constitute the element of itself, see if the self still exists as objective real, as different from the 6 elements. Remove the 6 elements. What's left? Nothing is left there. Okay, bringing the two together, that the 6 elements are not the self, not separate from the 6 elements of self. What is there as the self now? Nothing is there to be identified as self from the object. Stay in this experience for a while. From the object, there's nothing to be identified as self. Does it mean that self does not exist? No, self does exist. This mind, which does not see self, this is the ultimate analysis. In the eyes of the ultimate analysis, self does not appear, which means that self does not exist ultimately. But self does exist in a very conventional sense. This is known as conventional analysis. The self exists like the dream. If you analyze, the dream cannot be found objectively, but the dream exists as appearance to the mind. This is known as conventionally or subjectively existent. So the self does appear to the mind. It's just a mere appearance to the mind. It does exist as a mere appearance, as subjective real. From the object is totally empty, objectively empty, subjectively existent. Okay. Objectively, where is the self? is empty. Stillness experience. For some of you, you might get a tinge of fear. For some of you, a tinge of a they say the very extremely profound feeling or goosebumps may come to your body. Tickling sensations can happen, or cold waves can flow through the skin of the body. Should any of these experiences come to you, you are very fortunate. If not, don't worry. Study more of this emptiness and gradually through extensive studies, reflection, meditation, you will come to the together experience eventually. Okay, so just imagine that you go into deep into the self to see that the self doesn't really exist in the eyes of this ultimate analysis. Besides six elements, there's nothing really there as a self. Stillness experience where the self dissolves, stillness experience. Okay, this is the most fearless mind. Once you realize this, all the fears dissolve. Fears created by seeing the dream is real, all these fear dissolves. This is the most fearless mind. Slowly transform this fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a spotless, clean, and the Vajra, thumb size white Vajra, vertically sitting on the motor heart. Okay, that's amazing. So you have the moon, symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta to exterminate self-centered attitude, and a vajra, symbolizing the ultimate bodhicitta to exterminate all the mental defilements, guaranteeing that you are and your Buddha-ness inside, the seed of perfection inside will manifest fully. That's amazing. Meanwhile, let us not forget your two parents, all the family members, all these poor animals, the dogs, cats, insects, the spirits, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses. Let's not forget all these beings. They're suffering. They're all the very loving and caring mothers of the past lives. If they suffer and you have this Buddha nature manifest completely, yet you become fearless and infinite happiness. But if they suffer, what's the point? So out of incredibly great compassion towards all these beings, wishing that they also have this Raja moon and this compassion that you feel generated now, invoke the Vajramoon at your heart to multiply infinite number of times. Share one set of Vajramoon with your mother at her heart. Share one set of the Vajramoon with your father at his heart. One set with each one of your family members, your children, your husband, wife, and so forth. Each of the family members, each of the human beings, each of the animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, all these innumerable trillions of creatures in the forest, everyone gets the share of the Vajramoon from your side. The trillions of creatures in the oceans, each one of them get the share of the Vajramoon from your side. Amazing. Everybody in the whole Milky Way galaxy, in the whole universe, all the beings have the shared Vajramoon. Now they're going to be freed from miseries. They're going to have the experience of the infinite fulfillment. That's amazing. So the as a part of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, let us invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Yes, Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Let us invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, including Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to be the witness and to be the guest who are undertaking the ceremony of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. As a gesture of making this request, let us slowly stand up, but along with all the demonstration beings, to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Okay, now see if you can sit on your right knees. See if you can sit on your right knees. And page number, we turn to page, I think 50. In some, the older version has it on page 46. Others have it, the new version has it on page 50. Professor Vijay, you can switch. It should be on page 50. Okay, so basically this is the ceremony that we are doing. And as I said earlier, that whether you're Buddhist or not, it doesn't matter. Everyone is entitled to take this ceremony. As long as mentally you can make the commitment that from today onwards, I'll try my best to render help and service to other people. If not, at least I'll not harm others. And this much, if you can make the commitment, you're entitled to take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, so as indicated earlier, visualize all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, and they're so great sense of joy. They, as you requested, they come to witness what we are doing here, and all new demons and sentient beings, they're joining us. And Professor Vigji, think of all your like over 60, 70 dogs that you have. All dogs, they also, yes, the Professor Vigji is taking care of all the stray dogs, but extremely compassionate, he and his wife. So the blessing of all the sentient beings there, taking this aspiration Bodhisattva vow, this is the path which can help us be liberated from taking the lower birth, and the being in samsara will be liberated from samsara altogether. So with this in mind, let us recite the following verses. First, I'm going to explain the first verse. And given that you are thinking to unveil your Buddha nature completely, and to remove all the mud, the mental defilement from your mind, to activate this Buddha nature within you, for that it's a very long journey. Because it's a very long journey, it is a most modern journey. We require a great support, and the greatest support that we can think of is the triple gem. So it says, the first line says, I go for refuge to the triple gem. So now there is a great support, and this journey involves a road, and the road is blocked by the boulders and the fallen trees and so forth. Again, you cannot really take the journey. So the road must be cleared of all these and the obstacles. So the road is none other than your own mind. Your mind must be cleared of the obstacles such as the negativities. And the best way by which to clear the negativities is by confessing negativities. So the second line says, I confess negativities individually. And then, okay, now the road is very clear, but if your car does not have fuel, again, you cannot undertake the journey. The car should have enough fuel. And the car is none other than your own mind, and your mind should have the enough fuel of the virtues and the merits. And again, the best way, most effective way by which to have the maximum enormous amount of virtues within a short span of time is by rejoicing in the virtues of others. So the third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Okay, now the road is clear, and the road is clear, and your car is enough fuel. What kind of journey are you going to undertake? The fourth line says, I'm going to take that journey of Buddhahood. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, let's say this 3 times together, wholeheartedly. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Okay, the next two verses. This is very important. And as you can see, is done through invoking all the gurus, Buddhas, bodhisattvas to pay heed to you. And the first verse is about related to how can I benefit all the beings? For that matter, you should attain the perfect power, perfect knowledge, and the love. And somebody with the perfect the knowledge, perfect love, and perfect power, that is known as the awakened one, fully awakened one. So how can I do that? If you look at the history of the humanity, we see that 2,500 years ago, there was one prince known as Prince Siddhartha, and he succeeded in this. And how did he succeed? So here it identifies two factors which made him to succeed in the acquiring these three perfect qualities to be awakened fully to benefit all the beings. And today, after 2,500 years ago, still continuously the people are being benefited, the animals are being benefited, god and goddesses are being benefited. And if this is how he succeeded, so what did he do? Two factors. The first, he generated a very strong bodhicitta commitment that I will be awakened to benefit all the demons and beings. Number two, to materialize this aspiration, he engaged in the bodhisattva practices like 6 perfections and the 4 perfections, making 10 perfections. Say the perfection of generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, samadhi, and the wisdom, then the skillfulness, aspiration prayers, and then the power and the primordial wisdom. So engaging these practices, and finally he accomplished that goal where all the mental forms are removed and the seed of perfection within manifests or unveiled fully. So if this is how he succeeded, then the second verse is related to yourself. Then I will follow his footsteps. I will also engage in these two factors. First, generating a very strong motivation, bodhicitta, altruistic bodhicitta. And then to materialize this aspiration, I'll also engage in the bodhisattva practices. Okay, wholeheartedly, let us say these 3 times. And during the completion third recitation, okay, meanwhile, if any one of you feel the pain in your legs, sit comfortably because the pain should not hamper in your reflection. To the completion third repetition, just feel the joy when you say the last 2 lines, and likewise, you'll have 2 successful trained bodhisattva practices. Feel the joy over having received the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Okay, ready? Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. And just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall have 2 successful trained in the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall have 2 successful trained in the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall have 2 successful trained in the bodhisattva practices. Okay, to feel the joy over having received the aspiration bodhisattva vow, and imagine that say your mother, say for the last many years, you as a little girl or a little boy, the mother after all this many years of receiving complaints from the school principal, that the complaints about you as a little girl or a little boy, and today's school principal comes escorted by the other school teachers, and the mother feels again very apprehensive. What kind of complaints today? Any complaint? The school principal says, no complaint. Today's we came here to congratulate you. What for? Your son, your daughter, two of them are appointed as the best students of the school for this year. And the mother could not believe the eyes and ears after hearing complaints all these many years. And today, for the first time, she is hearing something very pleasant. And this is exactly what all the Buddhist bodhisattvas are feeling today. They feel so happy about you taking this commitment to perfect in three perfect qualities in order to be of the greatest service to all the demon sentient beings. And since time immemorial till now, we've been engaging all the negativities, killing, stealing, and so forth, all these negativities, and which makes the Buddhist bodhisattvas feel so sad. And today you are doing something very different, and this makes all the Buddhist bodhisattvas feel so proud and happy about you. And this pride and happiness the Buddhist bodhisattvas feel towards you invoke the Vajra moon at their hearts to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, they descend to merge with these replicas, infinite number of Vajra moon for all the infinite Buddhist bodhisattvas. They descend to merge with the one that visualize your heart, becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all these infinite, the replicas of Vajra moon from the Buddhist bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that visualize the heart of your mother. Likewise, at the heart of the father, likewise at the heart of each of your family members, your children, and the animals, insects, human beings, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, all these innumerable creatures in the forest, the wilderness, innumerable creatures in the ocean, everyone. Now, the Vajramoon that you have shared with them, they are being blessed by the Vajramoons from all the Buddhist bodhisattvas, becoming non-dual, blessed, and stabilized. That's amazing. So this is the greatest of the benefit, greatest of gift that you can offer to the sentient beings. And today you gifted them with this and this gift. And of all the offerings that you can think of making to all Buddhist bodhisattvas, there's nothing greater the offering than this. As I said earlier, the Buddha very clearly indicated that one moment of generating great compassion far excels the gift of the whole universe filled with gems and offered to all the Buddhist bodhisattvas. If this were to be the case, what I mentioned of our having generated this aspiration bodhisattva today. So today you have made the greatest of the offerings to all the Buddhist bodhisattvas. And offer a life. Say if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Say in our life we see that what we did today, this is the most meaningful thing. You have given such meaning to your life today. So this all happened because of the kindness of all the Buddhist bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, let us again, along with all demon sentient beings, let us stand up to make three prostrations to all Buddhist bodhisattvas. Okay, now please take your seats, sit comfortably. Okay, now we are completing the program. Let's turn to the, okay, the old edition, page 47, and the new edition, 51. Okay. So what we did now is a great practice. If we continue to do this practice, we see that your mind gradually grows, your compassion grows, and you become a happier person. And even the depression, if we do have some tension, stress, depression, and so forth, they'll also gradually disappear. You'll be uplifted from these. And also that should you encounter with difficult situations, your mind will not be disturbed as much. Otherwise, your mind gets easily disturbed. Otherwise, this will not happen if you practice this the consistently. Then what about next life? This is a big question. So what the next life is going to be like, we never know. Because of this, we include this in the form of very powerful prayer, that we are not separated from these practices. So as a part of this, let us recite this verse 3 times, wholeheartedly. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened the mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit, and well obtained this human existence. I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like blind men discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. Is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereign of death, is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. The supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is the treasure that shelters all beings, wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. Is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. Is the dawning moon on the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. Is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is quintessential butter from the channel of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence, who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy, and it shall place them in the supreme bliss. Today, in presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temperate and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. We're going to read the long life prayer of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It should be on, let's see, the old version has it on. Okay, is there anybody who can tell us 251, the new edition? Old edition 251, the new edition. By the way, just tell me the 267. There's one 267. 267. The new one 267. Yes. This one. Yes, the 267, the new edition, and the old one 251. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will read this long life prayer of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Why we are here together here is to celebrate His Holiness 88th birth anniversary. And so these prayers are composed by his own 2 teachers. So we will recite this verse wholeheartedly. Let's pray that His Holiness live long, and that his visions, his good heart, as examples for the world, other world leaders, let them learn from him. That people reap the benefit when they see His Holiness. People run into tears out of joy. They could feel something. It's purely what they feel is they feel the warmth of His Holiness. So let us pray for His Holiness and His Holiness's long life, that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously, and particularly the vision of the universal ethics for the world, for the betterment of the world, for the world to become more matured, that be fulfilled. So with this mind, let us recite the following verses, the prayer together, long life prayer of His Holiness. Song of the Immortality, pray for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, by his 2 teachers, Gyabje Ling Rinpoche and Gyabje Trijang Rinpoche, the former. They already passed away, their reincarnation here with us, with meaning they're here. Om Swasti. To the assembly of most kind teachers, both present and past, the miraculous dance of the body, speech, and mind of innumerable Buddhas, manifesting in accord with the aspirant spiritual capacities, wish granting, Jewel, the source of all virtue and goodness. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To the assembly of all meditational deities, manifesting as countless mandalas and divinities, the magical clouds of immaculate transcendent wisdom, reaching to the furthest expanse of the space of ultimate reality. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To all the victorious Buddhas of the three times, endowed with the 10 powers, and to even masters of the gods, and whose attributes of perfection are the source of all compassionate deeds, benefiting the vast ocean-like realm of sentient beings. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To the assembly of sacred doctrine embodied in three vehicles, supremely serene, a jeweled treasure, enlightenment, stainless, unchanging, eternally good, and the glory of all virtues, which actually liberates beings from the suffering of the three worlds. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To all members of the enlightening noble spiritual community who never stray from the thoroughly liberating adamantine city, who possess the wisdom eye that directly sees the profound truth and highest value to destroy all machinations of cyclic existence. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To the assembly heavenly beings of the three worlds who appear in the highest paradises, in the sacred places, and in the cremation grounds, and who through the creative play in the hundredfold experience of bliss and emptiness support practitioners in their meditation on the excellent path. To you we offer our prayers with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To the ocean of protectors endowed with eyes of transcendent wisdom, the powerful guardian and upholders of teaching, who were inseparable on their merit logs, the knot symbolizing the pledge to the Vajradhara. To you we offer a praise with fervent devotion that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. Thus, to this congregation of excellent and undeceiving refuge, we pray that the power of this prayer, expressed from a heart filled with fervent devotion and humility, may the body, speech, and mind of the soul of the land of snows, the Supreme Governor Lord San Tenzin Gyatso, be indestructible, unfluctuating, and unceasing. May he live immutably for 100 eons, seated on a diamond throne, transcending decay and destruction. You are the jewel heart embodying all compassionate beneficial deeds. O most courageous one, you carry on your shoulders the burden of all the Buddhas of the infinite realms. May all your noble aspirations be fulfilled as intended. By virtue of this, may the heavenly doors of the fortunate era open eternally as a source of relief and respite for all beings. And may the auspicious signs reach the apex of existence and release, as the sacred teaching flourish through all times and in all realms. May the nectar stream of the blessings of the lotus holder always enter our hearts and nourish them with strength. May we please you with offerings of dedicated practice. May we reach beyond the shores of perfect compassionate deeds. Through the blessings of the wonders of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the infallible truth of the laws of dependent origination, and by the purity of our fervent aspirations, may the aims of our prayer be fulfilled without hindrance. Okay, people, to the intention prayer. Oh, okay. So what we do is that we will now end the session with the proper dedication. I will do the short dedication. And let's pray that His Holiness, as we said before, that His Holiness lives long, and that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And also let us pray that the world, the world crisis everywhere, or whether on the domestic level, community level, or on the national level, international level, everywhere, discrimination is happening on the basis of gender, the creed or ethnicity and so forth, religion and so forth, they all subside. All these crises subside, and people come to be awakened to know that we are all one. We are just same in suffering, and we are all led by ignorance, thinking that I'll be happy by destroying you. By destroying you, the other side becomes your enemy, and you're creating enemy. Where there's enemy, you are never happy. So this is the irony of our being very selfish. So this, you are not the problem. The problem is our selfishness. So let us say no to selfishness by promoting these teachings on universal compassion, on the basis of understanding interdependency of each other. So let's pray that these teachings on universal compassion spread far wide and wide everywhere in the world, in the minds of all the demon sentient beings. And let me personally dedicate the merits that's gathered over the program that we had here, that each one of you, through your concerted effort, soon be able to see the dawn of the two bodhicittas within you, that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all demon sentient beings to a ultimate happiness and to a state of fearlessness. May the teaching on the bodhicitta, may the teaching of wisdom and emptiness thrive in the minds of all demon sentient beings, the present and the future. So with this in mind, let us turn to page 52, the new edition, and the old edition, 49. Okay. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhists and the Bodhisattvas over 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. May in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort in this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Dhyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Dhyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Oh, okay. For the offline, some of the younger ones volunteer to come to distribute the soul offerings which we made to Bodhisattvas. We'll distribute these to all of us, all of you, for all the participants here, offline and online. I'm not too sure. Okay, offlines have the share of the soul offerings. Okay, so yes, so happy birthday, His Holiness, the happy birthday for His Holiness, and that His Holiness lives long, for the benefit of all demon sentient beings, and his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously for all beings. Okay, so have a good day. Happy day for all of you. Oh, really? All right. Okay, so in the Tibet house, we already cut 2 cakes. So now again, there's a new cake which came. So they are requesting to cut the cake now. The 3rd one. La. Ale. So this cake, it came from my very dear friend, Mr. Losang Penzang and his family. So I request him to come. Okay, so somebody is saying,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Your Holiness. Happy birthday to you. Keki tung kala tam dishu. Keki tung kala tashi dele. Keki tung kala tashi dele. Keki tung kala tashi dele.
so the first part we offer to His Holiness on the altar, so that the rest will be distributed online, offline, both. In spirit, yes. Yeah. Okay, now the okay, so those who like to taste the cake, please feel free to get your share from the other room.
Thank you, everybody. And we have organized the refreshment, tea and refreshment at the adjacent hall, along with the cake. Please have and enjoy. Yeah, the other side of this hall, the adjacent hall. Thank you.